So John's like, what did you just say?
First of all, that was like the Goodfellas of porn.
I know.
Those guys are electric.
That's why I left it for the last one.
Yeah, I was like Pesci and De Niro or so. That was incredible. Yeah.
And by the way, in this whole Grindr thing that I think I was getting, I did get some straight porn in there too.
Yeah.
None of them were that good.
No, that's elite.
No.
That's like, yeah.
This is good. They're doing it right.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think happens next?
I think he gets on his knees and then he sucks his cock.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what happened.
Two for three. I win.
So Tom, 2 for 3. Welcome to Divorce with Friends, the podcast that reminds you that even at 93, Tom, Nana's still a baddie and she can kind of get it. I am Bobby Vito. Welcome to episode 6, and I am joined, as always, with my friend, my partner, my colleague, Tom. Tom, how are you?
Wow, I'm great. I missed that intro. I missed that song.
It's been a while,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
We haven't recorded in a while. I'm really sorry, everybody. We did it in, I think it was the 8th of June.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And now it's the 1st of July. And obviously Father's Day kind of got in the middle, and then there was the last day of school, and I sold my house, and Tom had some stuff going on. Obviously, the kidney stones, they didn't come back though, right, Tom?
No, they're away.
They're away.
I mean, maybe someday, we'll see.
They're away. But we have an action-packed show. We had some snafus over the weekend, but we rehearsed. We had a bunch of dry runs, and we're ready to go. But we're going to take that feedback from episode 5, and we're going to start with where to find us. So you can find us. You can email us at divorcewithfriends@gmail.com, Instagram @divorcewithfriends, Twitter @divorcewfpod. And as always, we do like to start with listener feedback and corrections, which has been great because we are getting them.
Yeah.
We're getting them from Instagram, we're getting them from email, and we have a bunch of them. So the first one comes in, from Beth on Instagram. Hello, Beth. And Beth wants to reach out to us about Pickle Girl. Remember Pickle Girl?
Yeah. This was the weird
big face
YouTube video with a big face that you like.
I love her.
That I don't understand.
I love her face.
Okay.
And it's because I stare at it all the time.
Yep.
And mainly alone.
Yeah.
I'm alone and stare at her face.
Judgment free.
Yeah.
We're
She was head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
pickle video positive on this podcast.
Very positive. Yeah. But she says, hey guys, great episode. But small correction on Big Mouth Girl. I believe Bobby said she stencils her lips, but the term is outlined.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. She outlines her lips. I wouldn't have said anything. But you did say, and I did say this, ladies, correct me.
That's true.
So I did say it.
We encourage criticism.
What do we call it? The ombudsman?
Ombudsman, yeah. Well, that's the Greek.
But the good news is we're getting another one.
We can crowdsource. Yeah, crowdsourced ombuds.
Exactly. But it wasn't the Greek, it was Beth.
Yes.
So we're branching out. Okay. Yep. The next listener feedback actually goes back to my baddie Nana.
Yes.
Joan the Bone.
Yep.
Okay, so it says, Bobby, was that really your grandmother? Don't take this the wrong way, but she sounds like she's done that before, like professionally. Too funny. So Nana actually did sound really good.
So I legit, and I've met Nana.
Yeah,
right?
you know
Nana's
Nana
a real
very well.
person.
Very
I can
well.
vouch, and I've met Nana. But I legit, when you started playing it, thought it was AI. I thought it was AI.
Oh, she's real. She's real. She's 93. She lives in New Hampshire. She used to live in a town that we know.
Yep.
But the actually true story. So my dad verified this. I knew when it happened or where it happened. I just wasn't sure when. Mm-hmm. So she was a telephone operator for Ma Bell in 1950. And then Ma Bell became New England Telephone, they became NYNEX, and then all the way up through whatever it was.
Yeah.
But what Nana used to do was take the phones and plug them in. Like somebody would call up, and then they'd be like, "Hello,
yeah, like
Ma
in the
Bell."
movies.
Exactly. Now, what Nana used to tell me is that there was an auxiliary jack, and her friends would listen to people's conversations.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that happens in Mad Men. That's like a plot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The secretaries tell the people. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Nana may or may not have participated in some weird phone sex. Joan the Bone might have been the original phone sex operator.
Okay.
But that's what Mike on Gmail thinks that she was, a professional phone sex operator at Ma Bell, which she might have been.
She was professional at the very least.
She definitely was. The last one we have, Tom, is actually a follow-up to your kidney stones.
Okay.
And this one
I hope this is, respectful because, again, on par with pregnancy, the lady on Reddit said. So
Well, I think the last time we did this, we got one email from A on Gmail,
Yep.
and he was basically like, "You fuck ugly chicks and you're a loser. You can't do anything."
yeah,
Everyone here has been really nice.
that's true. Yeah, these
So
are
far.
more positive. Yeah.
These are actually
we'll
really
see,
good.
Though. This maybe taking a turn for the worse. We'll see.
No, this is from Jay on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he writes, Tom, sucks about those kidney stones.
it does.
My buddy had them a few years ago.
Ah.
And he had to be hooked up to one of those machines, and I talked to you about that.
Yeah.
That shakes you until they break into smaller pieces.
Yeah, super
right?
weird, yeah.
Super weird. He goes, it sounds very painful. He goes, well, I can't relate to that. I did want to say soap in the pee hole, as Bobby said, is legit awful. Sorry.
It would have been wild if that was awesome and that was this guy's fetish. He was like, no, soap in the pee hole is my thing.
Yeah, Jay. Sorry, Jay. Let me start over for you, buddy. I did want to say that soap in the pee hole, as Bobby said, is legit awful.
Right.
And definitely a mindfuck. It used to happen in college, and I would always play this game. It was called Soap in My Penis, or I really hope that's soap in my penis. I guess it wasn't as much of a game as it was me slowly trying to pee in the dorm shower and convince myself that the soap would work itself out, and not something that required an awkward AAM conversation with whoever stayed the night before. That reminds me, wear flip-flops in the shower, kids. I used to pee in there. And that's from Jay on Instagram.
Okay. Well, but you're in a sterile, right? So that's
True, but like it is true. Like warts on your feet in college, you gotta wear flip flops, dude.
I would agree. I would always wear we had a co-ed bathroom actually in college.
You did?
Strange. Yeah, it was ahead of its time.
Girls
I'm
are
pretty old. You know?
I feel like just having lived with a woman,
Yeah.
they're nasty in the bath.
Yeah, they're
hair on the walls.
Sort of sneaky, gross. Yeah.
They are sneaky,
yeah.
gross.
But that Jay might want to get some sort of panel of tests done too.
He probably should
to be safe. Yeah.
He probably should. We're not saying Jay doesn't have anything, but
No, again, I'm judgment free, but just for his own health and.
But I do know what he's saying, where it's like you slowly pee and you're like, I hope this is the last burn
Yeah.
of the soap.
Well, also like as you get old too, like anything that's off, you know what I mean? It's like an old car. It's like it's like when your car's new and there's a sound, it's like, oh, sure, that's fine. But when you have an older car, you're like, fuck, that's $1,200.
Oh, I know,
right?
I know.
Like, you know, and that's like when you're an old person, anything on your body that like seems like it's going moderately awry. You're
Well, there's that weird study where it's like
to a doctor.
your car's old, but when you get it tuned up, your brain tells you that it sounds great and everything's perfect.
Yeah.
So maybe that, you know what I mean? So when he goes to the doctor, they're like, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly right. And then you like, yeah, and then you're like ready to like, you know, shoot heroin and eat whatever you want. And
Yeah.
I'm invincible.
He's
Yeah.
ready to go. We have a merch update. So, Tom, you got your hoodie today.
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
Fire. It's very comfortable.
It's great.
Very soft.
Yeah. So
Very professional looking.
it's professional. So we put up the post, I think, the Saturday after we put up the last episode. They came from our sponsor. So the Fairy Pod Mother, we don't actually name her. We call her Fairy Pod Mother or Podcast Milfy, as I like to call her.
right.
She sent those with what I thought was a dirty message to us.
wow.
I don't know if you thought it was dirty. There was a lot of XOXOXOs.
Yeah.
So I texted her back with you on it, and I said, "Are you flirting with me?"
Right.
And she wrote, "You wish."
Yeah.
Which I thought
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a little flirty back.
Yeah, that's pretty flirty.
And she knew I was going to talk about it.
Because if you're not flirty, just say no.
Just say no.
Yeah.
You wish is like you want me to say something.
Right. It's
And-
like to extend
Yeah.
the flirting. Yeah.
And because she doesn't own the company,
yeah.
she's not the boss.
Right.
She's just kind of like our liaison.
Yeah.
So here's the question. I don't know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Can you sexually harass your boss? Is that sexual harassment if it's your boss? It's
So-
something.
Oh, hypothetically.
Hypothetically, yeah.
That's a good one. I think you can.
Okay. Am I in trouble?
I think you can because it's always like so. I think first of all, I think there's just like you just got to kind of be triple careful now with anything workplace related.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have like a weird power dynamic versus.
I don't
your
have any
boss.
power over this woman at all, I don't think.
So you say, but
there's
flirting with you via text. So
there was a lot of
some kind
XOs.
power.
I think there was one too many.
Yeah.
She knows.
I think I don't know any XOs is right. Like I don't know. Like I don't get a lot of XOs from my friends or people who are not flirting with me.
Well, I mean, for a company that won't let us say who they are,
Yeah.
I feel like she reaches out a lot.
Yeah. She's very active.
She's very active with the text.
Yeah.
But she's sweet. She's sweet. So that's cool. We love them, though. And I think if people do want to inquire more about them, they are a little bit expensive. Obviously, ours were free.
Yeah.
But if you do want to hear more of them, they're made by New Era and they're stitched. They are embroidered. They're nice.
Super nice.
Very nice. A big update, actually, Tom, coming.
Yes.
social media hire has happened.
Okay.
Okay, so we officially hired Meg.
Okay.
Do you remember the Meg and Jill drama?
Yes.
Okay, so you were in Maine,
Yeah.
so I had to handle this one.
Yeah.
We hired Meg.
Yeah.
For Twitter, and I'll get into why. Jill was not hired.
Right.
Okay.
But you mentioned Jill, right?
I mentioned Jill because they were a package deal.
Great.
But when I explained to Meg that like I would just give her access to the apps and I'd give her our logos and I would give her our branding, and the goal was to grow the brand.
Right.
I said we don't want to hire Jill,
Wow.
and
Did you say it like that?
I was polite about it.
Okay.
As polite as I can be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was polite, but it was pretty, you know.
I just said I said I like Jill's portfolio. I like yours better. If Jill would like to work with you and intern, and you can.
You did a shit sandwich.
Yeah.
No, Jill's great.
Jill's
We're not gonna hire her.
well,
Jill's great.
Jill, we had a it was a turn with Jill.
Yeah.
Jill called afterwards.
Okay.
I'm gonna beep this out, but I'm gonna say the word so you can hear it.
Yeah.
Jill called me a cunt.
Wow.
She called me a cunt 3 times.
Wow.
I think she's.
Well, that's her word. That's not our word.
That's not our word.
Right? So
it's Gen
she
Z.
can do whatever she wants, I think.
She's 22.
I think women, right? Women are taking it back. I thought, is that a thing or
She
no?
can have it.
Yeah, I don't. Although I do, I will admit, as a person who doesn't use
Do I
a lot
have
of
to?
language
Do I have
like
to
that,
beep it out? It's
no,
not
you
my
have
word.
to beep it out. But occasionally, if I like am in pain of some kind, I will say that one, and that's one I should probably drop.
It's a
But I will say it in that context, not at anybody.
okay.
It's not my word, but
Yeah. So Meg, even with that, because they're friends.
Yeah.
Even with that, Meg was like, "I'm really sorry for what Jill said."
Okay.
I said,
well, she wants to. Yeah.
I said, it's fine. It was actually kind of like, it's kind of like when my kids swear at me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, that's funny. But like,
Wow.
that was a aggressive word.
Do you think what you just said added a little insult to injury for Jill? You're like, you just compared her to your child.
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. But I'm going to tell you a funny story in a minute, which will probably make it even worse. So the reason that we're actually going to have Meg, and Meg's well aware of this, the reason that we're going to have Meg do Twitter, it's Twitter's, we haven't touched Twitter at all.
Yeah.
Right? So we've kind of been a little bit active on Instagram.
Yeah.
I actually run the Instagram right now.
Yeah.
So I communicate with a lot of people on the Instagram as it is now, and our algorithm is my fault. And it is a hot mess.
Oh, boy.
Which will lead into one of our topics. But our feed right now is covered with these things, right? So depending on how you flip, videos on narcissism, which you know.
Yeah.
Which,
We talked about that.
Which
Yeah.
I don't really care for. Cavaliers, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? I love them.
The dog, not the basketball team.
A new one that shows up, which is girls in bikinis, but when they turn around, they have Down syndrome. I know.
What?
I know. They are.
How do-
It's just all right. So it's just like normal girls. You think?
There should be a button that you can push that's just like, I need an in-depth explanation of how this got here. Instagram. Do you know what I mean?
So, the next thing,
What in my history has suggested that I would like to see this? Unless maybe, Bobby, you already know.
well, there's two more. One of them's normal, right? It's
Okay.
90s alternative rock bands live.
Yeah,
so I'm like, okay,
that's
that
in your
makes
alley.
sense.
That's up your alley.
That's
You're a
completely me.
music guy.
And the next one, which I'll get to last, kind of maybe leads into it.
Okay.
So I really don't know where the Down syndrome bikini girls, but I think what's happening is,
What do you say?
I think what's happening is Instagram's like, I'm going to shame this guy, but they don't know who they're dealing with.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah, you're doubling down.
I'm doubling down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a podcast. I love this.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about it.
Right. I'm going to be commenting on these bikini with Down syndrome.
Because the first time I was a little bit ashamed. I was like,
Sure.
I was like, whoa, I shouldn't have liked that.
It's a little strange. Yeah.
But
why?
now I'm like,
Yeah, how did
like, does she have Down syndrome? I don't know. And I wait for it now. And if she
we
doesn't have it,
should-
I get disappointed.
Maybe we should give Meg the Instagram. I don't know. maybe we need to take it away.
I know, Meg. You might take over the IG.
Is there a way? So here's a question. I do this with YouTube occasionally because like I'll look at my YouTube feed and I'll be like, because we've talked about this, right? Your feed is kind of like it's the actual version of what you watch as opposed to your aspirations of what you think you should watch or listen to, right? It's like your Spotify has more like pop music than you thought, right? Or whatever. So my YouTube, sometimes I'll nuke it and you can delete your history. So I'll just delete all my history. Right. And that'll work. It seems like, right. Cause I get like a fresh feed.
Yeah, that's
and I'll
true.
subscribe to whatever I want. I can kind of start from scratch. And then when I start watching stuff, and sometimes it'll be like IP targeted, but there should be a way to do that with Instagram. I would
Well,
imagine.
what I do sometimes if I find like a really raunchy video,
Yeah.
I'll send it to Schumann and Conti.
Okay.
And then Schumann will write back like, I'm not opening that. I don't want to ruin my feed. And that was my first forte into like, that's how it
probably why
happens.
she doesn't see.
Yeah, that's why she doesn't see
Bikini.
bikini girls in Down syndrome. But I'll get her. I'll get her at some point. So that's what's going on with the social media. So look forward to Twitter. Twitter's a cesspool anyway. So Meg, good luck.
Yeah, maybe Elon will respond.
Maybe.
Get Elon,
Maybe we'll do that.
He's a big account.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So some life updates.
Okay.
Last time, right, the day after the podcast dropped, my lifeline for the kids when they were acting up was their iPads.
Yes.
Probably like a bad dad.
Yeah.
Divorced dad, iPads would go up.
It's kind of cliche.
So
Isn't that the Shane Gillis skit? He was like, the divorced dad is give him iPad.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's the starter kit.
Yeah.
It's with tissues for cleanup and crying. But
Tough balance. Everybody's fighting the same battle on that. The screens.
it's bad.
Yeah.
But the older one was trying to give the younger one the iPad.
Yeah.
And he threw it to him.
Okay.
And he didn't realize it's glass.
Sure.
So it shattered.
Yeah.
But
broken multiple iPads.
yeah, you break them. But like the thing is because I give their mom so much money, I couldn't just go buying a brand new iPad.
Yeah.
So I had to wait a couple weeks.
Right.
So I did go buy him a new iPad.
Uh-huh.
And he finally got the new iPad. And then I had a coworker from Chicago come in with his lovely family.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's bringing his lovely family to dinner on Thursday. I'll bring my lovely family to dinner.
Sure.
His lovely family was super well behaved.
Yeah.
But my kids, he told me he was going to bring devices for his
Yeah,
kids. So
yeah.
I didn't, and they were about the
was
same age.
nice. That's
Yeah, it was really
thoughtful.
nice. Yeah. So I didn't think it would be a problem. So I brought the kids theirs and everything was okay. Maybe one meltdown, but we're okay. So we're driving back from the city and it's 8:30 last Thursday.
Okay.
And the younger one, who's like a tank, decides he doesn't want to watch his new iPad anymore.
Okay.
Right. He's sitting next to the older one.
Yep.
And he wants to look over the shoulder of the older one to
is
watch
classic.
Cuphead, which is some stupid nonsense show, right? But the older one, who, by the way, it's like looking is free. He doesn't. It's not bothering him at all. He decides he doesn't want this at all.
Yeah.
So he pushes the younger one.
Yeah.
Okay. The younger one gets so mad by this, he kicks him.
Yeah.
So the older one hits him. Now I'm at the section of Route 2 that's more like a divided 60 mile an hour 2-lane road than a highway.
Yep.
I can't really stop. I can't really pull over. I can't really do much of
that's
what's
a tough
going
one.
on.
Yeah.
So I kind of have to keep my hand between them in the back.
Yeah.
I'm basically expecting my fingers to be jammed with kicks at any point. Like my fingers are about to be broken.
Sure.
Okay. So the younger one gets so mad he throws the new iPad.
Yeah.
He just throws it.
Oh, jeez.
So I kind of turn around and I say to the little one, I go, his name, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And he looks at me, and I have to do his voice because it's not really funny if you know. He says, "You're the worst," and I was like, "Excuse me,"
Jeez, wow.
but it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, but I can't laugh.
Right. No, you can't, because then that's reinforcing, and then they're gonna. Yeah.
So I said, "What did you just say to me?"
Yeah.
And he repeats it. "You're the worst."
Yeah.
And I said his name again.
Yeah.
I said, "You don't say that to me."
Right.
But now we're playing chess.
Yeah.
Okay. He knows we're playing chess.
Yeah.
The iPad's on the floor. He can't get it.
Yeah.
It's 8:30. He's going to bed.
Yeah.
He's mad.
Yeah.
So you know what he says to me?
Oh no, what?
I'm going to say fuck. I'm going to say fuck. Now I definitely want to laugh. I can't call out the fact that he wants to say fuck.
right.
He just said fuck.
Yeah.
This kid has somehow built a Tesseract.
Right.
He's playing like Tesseract chess on me.
Yeah.
He just checkmated the shit out of me.
Well, did he though? Because he kind of like dropped the. You know what I mean?
Well, he's like, I'm gonna say fuck. He just said it. I
Right.
can't be like, what did you
He
just say?
dropped the nuke. He was like, "Watch out, or I'll drop this nuke," and then he just dropped the nuke.
He dropped
Yeah,
the nuke,
yeah,
but like,
yeah.
I just want to listen to my podcast, Tom. I just want to listen. You're
I know that feeling.
like, I'm just, and by the, it's like I'm on that section of Route 2 where it's like stoplight still.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm trying to get home as fast as I can.
Yeah.
So I can just get these goddamn kids
Yeah.
to bed.
Yeah. Totally.
Luckily, the iPad didn't break.
Yeah.
But we made it through that catastrophe.
There is a special, and my kids are a lot older now, but there is a special helplessness when you are driving and you have two kids in the back seat. And one of the things that my kids used to do all the time with the car seats, you had that when they were facing forward kind of in the car seats, right? Like they're a little bit older, they're sitting up, is they would flip the straps off their shoulders. You know what I mean?
I know
They're
that-
just flipping around,
I know that
moving
game.
around, right? Yeah. It's not comfortable. They don't want the straps there. And you don't even see it, right? And there's like, this is super unsafe, right? There's a reason they put extra straps on there, right?
Yeah.
And that would be like, because you constantly you can't just look at them the whole time you're driving.
You'd
So
also
it's
get
like-
arrested if you
it's
get
a
pulled
law.
over.
Yeah, it's a law that they're because they're not securely fastened or whatever.
100%.
Yeah, so that is like a unique challenge when you're trying to. Because it's obviously wildly dangerous if you're not focused on the road.
Yeah.
You're responsible for them in that way too, and you can't police what's going on in the back, right? And they're not old enough to sit in the front, literally, right? So
I would much rather them play the game with Jay of is that soap in my penis, or I really hope that's soap in my penis, than take the straps off them in the car.
yeah. Yeah. So it's anyway. And again, the device. yeah. But yeah. So the devices is kind of an acceptable cost, but it's actually doubly frustrating because you're like, I paid the device price.
Yeah.
Right. Like I already gave them the devices kind of against my will. I probably didn't want to.
Yeah.
And now I'm still not getting like the desired result of them just like letting me listen to my podcast.
I know you don't like when I do this, but I have to tell you.
Yeah.
When I told their mom that the iPad broke.
Yeah.
It was just a simple story. Like he dropped the iPad, it broke.
Yeah.
But she looked at me like Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover when he's playing blackjack, and like all like the numbers and the shapes and stuff came around his head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you trying to?
Trying to
out?
find the
I'm like, he's 4. You can just ask him what happened.
Well, yeah.
His lies are obvious.
I will say it's not just exes, right? Who will try to do the math on like who's responsible and whose fault that is, right? When like something like that happens.
Tom, you're the best guy.
That's very true.
You're the best guy. I do want to give another update before we kind of get into some of our stories.
Yes.
So for those who are not new to the podcast, if you are new to the podcast, we use some of our sponsorship money to waste it on a psychic medium from Instagram who then drew a photo of my soulmate, our soulmate, because I did put it in our birthday. She said the name was going to be EK. Looks like to me Gina Davis, to Tom is Walton Goggins.
Yep.
But what happened was we paid for that in April, and
Yep.
I think we talked about it in May.
Yeah.
And basically it was like, you'll meet this person in October.
Yeah.
So for the most part, she was like, psychic Tina Adela is like, why don't you just sit around, don't do shit for the next 8 months and just wait for this person to come around. And every now and then I get these automated emails from the psychic, and like
They're upselling you.
They're upselling
right?
you,
Yeah.
big
they want
time.
you to. Yeah.
And really, so the subjects have been threatening me over time, right? So here's one of them came in last week. Subject: why can't your soulmate find you? So I go into it, and it's like your energy frequency is misaligned, and I get into it.
Do they have a service for that by any chance?
Yeah, you can basically pay more.
Yeah, energy.
And
alignment.
as much as I like the fairy podmother,
Like a chiropractor, but for the psychic realm. Yeah.
Exactly. As much as I do want to spend more of their money on this, or in general, just not on this, but basically it's like you're fucking up the program. You're not doing the thing I'm telling you to do.
Yeah.
And then I got another one that says, subject: I predict death.
Wow.
But spoiler.
That's the subject?
Yeah, but it didn't. It didn't. And the body of the email was basically, I'm not following the plan. So some people might say, what do you mean you're not following the plan? So Tom.
Yeah.
Little news for the podcast.
Yeah.
There may be a young lady in my life.
Ooh. Okay.
Young lady, not Belichick young.
Okay. That's
younger
good.
than me.
Not 24. She's not
No,
sending emails through your work or anything. She's not. Like,
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but she's younger than me.
Yeah. Jordan would be all over this podcast already. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
100, yeah. If it
which
was,
I would welcome, by the way.
yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly. 'Cause you love that. You love
Yep.
that shit. But yeah, so because I love the nicknames.
Yes.
I love a good nickname.
Yeah.
We're gonna give her a little mystery here.
Okay.
Okay, and she's aware of this.
Yep.
We're gonna call her Hollywood.
Hollywood. Okay.
Because she loves. She's got a bunch of sunglasses.
Okay.
Big sunglasses.
Yep.
Long blonde hair.
Okay.
Right? Big sunglasses.
Yep.
But no photos.
Right.
We don't do photos. There's people in my life who are like, I want to see her, want to meet her. No,
No,
not
no
doing
photos. Yeah, yeah.
That. Not doing that.
Celebrity.
It's very, very celebrity.
Got it.
Right? No flashes.
Yep.
We hang out. We have a good time.
Yep.
And the next question I get from people is, does she know about the podcast?
Yeah.
Yes, Hollywood knows about the podcast.
Oh wow. Okay. That's
Hollywood likes a podcast.
Oh, nice. That's good.
I don't know if this is an insult.
Who's her favorite podcaster?
You.
Okay.
Big fan of you. Big fan of Tom. I don't know if this is an insult, but you know what she tells me? She listens to the podcast when she wants to go to sleep.
Oh.
She says she loves our voices, though.
Oh, that's true.
Big
yeah.
fan of the voices.
Yeah. We do have melodic tones.
Yeah, I think so.
I do that with a lot of things that I like. I listen to things. You know what I got?
What do you got?
So I have a whole, actually, this is a tangent, but I have a whole like sleep suite of things that I do.
Tell
Do
me.
you want to know what I do? So
Tell our audience.
I fall for I'm like, like the people used to buy stuff off infomercials.
Yeah.
I'm like that, but for like sleep gadgets and sleep things.
Yeah.
So I do mouth tape.
Yeah.
do mouth tape.
What's it called, though?
The mouth tape is called hostage tape.
Yeah, that's right.
I put in the address to the wrong address. You know how you do like the Amazon and you're like, oh, I'd ship something to my parents' house. So I put in my parents' house and then the hostage tape came and my mom was like, Tommy, you have hostage tape with this, Sorry, that was a little awkward, but it's not. I don't use it for
Don't
anybody.
give Jill any ideas.
Yeah, I'm not like applying the hostage tape to anybody. It's for personal use only. So hostage tape for mouth tape. I do the breathe right strips, the nasal strips.
Yeah. You tried the magnetic ones or what?
I've tried the magnetic ones. They don't work for me. Some people swear by them. I like the breathe rights. They're a little easier. And now my new thing is they have this headband.
Okay.
That has like the little ear pods in the headband. Because if you sleep with AirPods, the AirPods fall out. If you just play it out, your significant other or people around you will hear it. So you have the headband. So I look like a fucking psycho when I get ready for bed. I have mouth tape over my mouth. I have a breathe right strip. I have a headband. It looks like the saddest competition ever. And then I just fall asleep.
I kind of want Podcast Milfy to get us some branded.
Yes, I do think we need branded headbands.
XOXO.
Yeah.
Can you hook us up? Yeah. I love that, Tom. So Hollywood is a big fan, and more to come on that. So I think EK is on the back burner while I figure this one out. So we're gonna do some news stories, and then we're gonna get into our segment. Tom.
Yes.
Big news.
Yeah.
Big news. So it's confirmed. First episode we did celebrity divorces.
Yep.
And it is confirmed. Jeff Bezos. Listener of the podcast.
Yeah.
Because he just got married to longtime girlfriend Lauren Sanchez.
Yep.
And he got a prenup. Which is what we recommended to begin with.
Yep.
So he is a huge fan. It is confirmed. Wedding was on Friday, the 27th in Venice.
Yep.
I don't know if there was actually New York time or Venice time, meaning that it would have been on the 28th or maybe the 26th. I don't know. But either way, so according to Page Six, the wedding cost $55 million. Now I want to dive into that first.
Now, a lot of people thought that was outrageous. People are offended by that number.
I text you afterwards.
Yeah.
I thought it was outrageous for a different reason. Now, why is that, Tom?
You think he's cheap?
I think he's cheap.
Bezos cheap.
All right, but let's dive into the numbers because I called that out immediately.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, you were thinking percentage of what? So what's the thing with the ring, right? How many you're supposed to spend like X
3 months,
3 months salary on a ring, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what percentage? How many months is Bezos spending on this wedding? Not many.
All right. So out of $55 million, out of his net worth, which is $234 billion, $55 million is 0.0235% of his net worth.
It wouldn't even be worth it for Jeff Bezos to pick up a gym bag with $55 million in it. You know what I'm saying? Just based on what he makes every minute.
That's what I'm saying, right? So that's what that is. Now, keep in mind, he also gave his first wife $38.3 billion.
Yes.
$55 million of that, right, is only 0.1436%.
Yeah.
So it's like did he even have a wedding?
So, and you have a note here that I think is interesting. So, according to Reddit, which is never wrong, he refused to pay for like Lady Gaga and Elton John.
Yeah.
Right.
He said play him on Spotify.
Yeah, $6 million. So,
according to Reddit,
I wonder, do you think that Jeff Bezos, and I think I have a take on this, but do you think that he has like normal person arguments with his new wife where she's like, you paid that broad $38 billion and we can't even get Lady Gaga at the, you know what I'm saying? Like
1000%.
you wrote a check for $38 billion and I'm not worth it. Oh, she's worth $38 billion, but I'm not worth like Lady Gaga.
The one thing is like, so he's 61, I think.
Yeah.
And she's like late 50s.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like, just save the money. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Maybe she doesn't care, but I think it's possible that she does.
I am surprised that they didn't pay that type of money because I heard just anecdotally, like some celebrities didn't go and they were pissed because he supported.
Right.
And they didn't go. But it's kind of like, I guess if that's the case, like who did go? I don't even know who did go.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of.
I didn't do my research enough on that.
Yeah, I don't know, but that is kind of funny, and I wonder if she cared that much. But that is pretty interesting that he wouldn't pony up another $6 million.
$6 million. So $12 million total to get the both of them. And I don't know how many songs they were going to do.
Yeah.
But like when Beyonce plays for like the Saudi princes, isn't it like hundreds of millions?
Maybe he just thought it would be awkward to have like a band. You know what I mean? To have the live music there.
I was a DJ guy.
DJ versus band. Yeah.
You know, he could have get the Divorce with Friends podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We
would have been a great
dude.
DJ.
We would have done it. Bobby Vito would have done it for like $1 million.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know what?
We would have done a live podcast there.
Killed
Absolutely. 100%.
We do have a plan for a live podcast, which we're not going to talk about today, but it's going to happen. So that's the first story. So good for Bezos getting that prenup. We want prenup. Good for you.
Yeah.
The next story, near and dear to my heart. So we never like to hear in this economy that people get laid off. However, this leads into our next segment as well. So Bumble has laid off 30% of its workforce, which is pretty significant. And I did some research into it, and it looks like they went public in 2021.
Yep.
And since they went public in 2021, the company has lost 90%, that's a 90, of its overall value since going public. And we talked a little bit about Bumble, I think, at the apps on the first episode.
Yeah.
The thing about Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, all that stuff, it's confusing because the ultimate goal is for your users to get off of it.
Right. To have a relationship.
To have a
especially
relationship.
like a Bumble, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Specifically, yeah.
And having been on the apps,
Yeah.
it's not cheap to get on.
Pre-Hollywood, right?
Pre-Hollywood, exactly. And I didn't mean Hollywood on the apps, actually.
See? Well,
Which is kind of because fuck the apps.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is, I think to be on it on a premium subscription for like a 3-month time period, it was over $200.
Right.
And then you get, X amount of super swipes and you get X amount of whatever. And
Yeah.
that's just to like cut the line of other people.
Yeah.
So it is a game to keep morons like myself on it, right? Just to get you off of it.
Yeah.
So it is a losing game, meaning that if the people are smart, they will get off, right? You're betting against the house because it's pretty terrible. But then it also goes on in the article, which was from CNN, that Tinder and Hinge have seen very similar drop-offs in profit. The only one, Tom, and this is going to get us into our first segment. I'm very excited because you don't know what it is. I took the next segment out of Tom's show notes because when Tom,
That's true. I haven't seen
he
this.
hasn't seen it.
So if you want to cancel somebody,
You cancel me.
you're going to cancel Bobby.
When Tom is genuine in like when he heard my grandmother talk dirty, the laugh that you get from Tom is so genuine and
infectious,
special.
people say.
It is so infectious. I am tickled by it. I'm tickled pink, as they say.
But once we get popular enough, though, the subreddit will hate it.
They'll hate
That'll
it.
be
They're gonna hate a lot of things about me.
Yeah.
Don't worry
Oh,
about
yeah, for sure.
it. But Grindr, actually, Tom,
Grinder is the one that's profitable. Okay.
profitable. So over the last year, it's actually increased its value at 115%.
Okay.
So what I did from there, and this is where I think. Remember, I told you
Go
there was one more-
incognito on Grinder and
I was not incognito.
all right.
I was not incognito. I was not. I was Carlos Danger. It's gone up 150% over last year. So I went down the rabbit hole of their stock and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And do you remember when I was going through our algorithm and what was showing up? And I mentioned the narcissist, the cavaliers,
So you got some,
thing.
Get some Grinder.
I have
Action
been
on.
inundated
Wow.
with a new topic that's going to lead us into segment 1. Ready? So segment 1 here, everybody. Segment 1. Tom doesn't know what it is, right? So in honor of Grindr, absolutely smashing the dating app game.
Yep.
I'm going to play a game with Tom right now.
Okay.
So miscellaneous, that thing I didn't tell Tom what it was.
Yep.
I'm getting clips
Oh, wow.
on
Okay.
Instagram
Yep.
of out of context gay porn. Okay. So
Okay.
maybe 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds, maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's out of context gay porn.
Okay.
So what I did was I found my favorite 3. I think they're awesome, and what it shows me is that they're doing it right.
Okay.
I found the actual movie.
Okay.
I took the time, the research. I did
It's a lot of research.
It was not. It was fun.
Some would say, yeah.
Some would say.
Yeah.
Nah, some would say. I did the time. I did the work. Tom.
Okay.
I put in
Yeah.
the work.
Yeah.
I know what happens next.
Passion projects.
It was a little bit of like just like this podcast.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to the audience and everybody what I'm about to play.
Okay.
I'm going to play it, and then I want you to tell me what you think happens, and then I'm going to tell you what happens
In the scene.
in the scene.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
So let me just cue everything up, and this one is called The Water Drinkers. So in The Water Drinkers, okay, Eddie and Steve are on a walk on a hot summer day, okay?
Yeah.
Eddie offers Steve some of his water. Steve, extremely thirsty, chugs that water, spilling it on himself.
Okay.
Eddie warns Steve to slow down or he'll choke. Steve explains to Eddie that never happens. So, Tom, after I play this, why don't you tell me what happens next?
Okay.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Whoa, take it slow. You're gonna choke.
Right.
Nothing I take down my throat makes me choke.
Good acting.
All right, so Eddie and Steve, they're drinking water. Nothing in his throat makes him choke. What happens after that scene?
So wait, which one's Eddie and which one's Steve? The Nothing makes me choke is which one? Is Eddie?
Is Nothing Make Me Choke is Eddie.
Is Eddie. Okay. So I think that Steve is going to give Eddie not water, not a water bottle, but his cock. And then Eddie's going to choke on it, I think.
Is that what you think happened?
I think it's a swerve because Eddie's like, oh, I don't choke on anything, but he's going to choke a little bit.
Tom, I'm sorry to report you're wrong.
Oh, wow.
He gives him a bendy straw.
That's it?
He gives him a bendy straw, and
I
no,
thought this was supposed to be gay porn.
they're doing it right.
Wow.
Came out of nowhere. He gives him a bendy straw. Steve gives it. Steve gives it to Eddie. Eddie drinks the water out of the bendy straw. He thanks him, and then he sucks his cock.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the classic swerve.
That's good. That is a good
You didn't see it
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So Tom, 0 for 1.
Okay.
So you see how this game is played, everybody.
I don't know. That's a little bit of a technicality. I feel like he did eventually get the cock, so I'm not sure that was that far. Technically, you got me. I'll take 0 for 1.
Okay. There you
A
go.
little
Ready?
asterisk, though.
Okay. So here's another one. Ready? This one's called Shower Interrupted.
Okay.
Okay. So Rob goes to Mark's house looking for Kurt. Okay.
Okay.
Mark answers in a towel and is very annoyed.
Yeah.
Mark explains that Kurt's not home,
Yeah.
but Rob won't leave.
Okay.
What happens next?
Okay.
What?
Oh, hey, Mark. Did I catch you at a bad time?
Rob, what do you want?
Hey, is Kurt home? I wanted to meet Chris.
No one's here, obviously. Or I wouldn't be getting out of the shower to answer
Yeah.
the door.
Well, I wanted to see if they wanted to hang out.
What the fuck are you looking for?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't. I just couldn't help but to notice it.
Well, if you like looking at so much, maybe you should take a closer look.
All right, Tom.
Okay,
What
okay,
happens next between Mark and Rob?
Okay. So hang on. So Mark is the one answering the door.
Yep.
Right? Okay. So Mark is answering the door. Now, things didn't get off to a great start.
No,
right?
he was
Mark
annoyed.
was a little. Mark's a little rude, for being honest.
Well, because he's looking. The other guy's looking for Kurt.
Wow, I think he's looking for something else.
I think
But
he
yeah,
is too.
I don't know what
I think he
Kurt's
is too.
got going on, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that Mark is gonna open his robe, and he's gonna have a bendy straw. No, he's gonna have his cock out, and then the guy's gonna suck his cock.
Is that what you-
That would be my guess for a lot of these. Yeah, that would be my guess.
Is that
I
what
don't
you-
watch a lot of gay porn, but that's what I imagine happens a lot. Yeah.
Tom, wrong again.
Wow, right?
No,
Ed?
wrong again. So Mark explains he's not home.
These porn.
No, wrong again. He invites him in, gives him some chips, finishes the shower.
Fuck out of here.
Then he sucks his cock.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Then he's got-
No, Tom, you're right about that one.
Okay.
You're right about that. That's exactly what happened.
Because if I wasn't, I was going to start my own gay porn company.
Nope.
Just cut out the middleman here. Like, we need more cock.
Tom was right about that one.
Yeah, okay, good.
So there you go.
Right.
So the last one is my hands down favorite.
Okay.
Really, really just because of how it crescendos at the end.
All right. Well, I'm 1 for 2. So this is like, do I get a prize or not? I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you get access to the
straw
Instagram. You get to
and a
watch
cock.
the actual videos and a cock. Okay. So this one is called The Lazy Car Repairman. Okay.
Okay.
So John comes around the corner to find 2 of his employees slacking off on the
boy.
job. Angry, he yells at them to get back to work.
Yeah.
All right. To his shock, instead of complying with his demands, his employees have some of their own demands.
Oh, boy.
All right.
It's gonna
so,
involve a cock.
so Tom, let's play a game. It's called What Happens Next.
Okay.
Working our asses.
You guys, get off your asses and back to work.
Come on, man, we're taking a break.
Fuck your break. There's 15 cars here that need to be serviced. Now get back to it.
Listen here, fucker. The only thing you need servicing around here is our cocks. So get on your knees and beg like a bitch.
What?
So John's like, "What did you just say?"
First of all, that was like the Goodfellas of porn.
I know.
Those guys are electric.
That's why I left it for the last one.
Yeah, I was like Pesci and De Niro or so. That was
Exactly.
incredible. Yeah.
And by the way, in this whole grinder thing that
Yeah.
I think I was getting, I did get some straight porn in there too.
Yeah.
None of them were that good.
No, that's
No.
that's elite.
No.
That's like yeah.
This is good. This is good. They're doing it right. doing it
Yeah.
right. So what do you think happens next?
I think he gets on his knees and then he sucks his cock.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what happened.
2 for 3. I win.
So Tom, I think I probably messed it up because I could have put the straw like last and maybe like
Yeah, that might have been. No, I think that was good though because like then I had in the back of my head every time, that it was going to be some kind of swerve. So
Yeah. So that was the segment. It was called it's out of context gay porn. And that's what I like to do. So I really feel like because of my relationship with Tom,
Yeah.
I can really just confuse him.
Yeah.
And just I can basically think of these crazy ideas.
Yeah.
And if they entertain me, I think they'll entertain
Yeah,
Tom.
no, totally. Yeah.
So-
I'm pretty like sort of naive and wholesome too.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting.
I mean, to hear you say the word cock like 5 times
yeah,
in the
that's
last
I
7
don't
minutes.
usually say cock that much.
Phenomenal.
I mean,
Because you know what's crazy? You know who's like a P1 listener to this program?
Yeah.
My mother.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you go.
So there you go. That was that segment.
All right.
So moving on, I do want to tell. I want to give another story about penises.
Yeah.
But this story kind of dovetails into another one, sort of about maturing,
Okay.
I suppose. But it doesn't start there.
Yeah.
Like my brain works in sort of tangents, if
Yeah.
you will.
Oh, everybody's does.
So I was out with a friend,
Yeah.
CP. And he's asking how things are going with the divorce, and I mentioned that fucking Babs is out selling shit on Facebook Marketplace, and it's whatever. And he's like, I got a great story about selling shit.
Okay.
And he says, my son wants to get into golf, and he doesn't want to invest in new clubs, which I totally get.
Yep.
So he goes on Craigslist,
Okay.
and he lives up on the water,
Yep.
and he goes on Craigslist and he finds an ad, somebody selling used kids golf clubs.
Yep.
And he buys them from a guy who's in his like 60s,
Yeah.
like late 60s. And no big deal. Transaction goes fine.
Sure.
And about a week later, the guy emails CP back with the subject line, NSA blowjob. And he's like, deer in headlights, like,
Yeah.
What? What's this? And he's like, I didn't know what it was. So I asked some friends. They didn't know. Like, I Googled it. And he's like, it means no strings attached blowjob.
Oh, wow.
So my mind was like, but you knew it meant something, blowjob. Like,
Yeah.
what could it have meant
Yeah.
for you to be like, I'm okay with this, right? So it's so.
Well, I don't. Yeah, but maybe he's not. I think he's trying to get to the bottom because it could have been like a violent thing, and then you're like, hey, this guy has some of my information, so maybe there's a concern. NSA. I thought it was like the National Security Administration or whatever. So maybe he's like, oh, this guy's listening in to my blowjobs or something, right? Like, who knows?
Tom,
who knows?
That's a very. It could have been not so awesome blowjob.
right. Yeah. Yeah. That's true too. Yeah, like a teeth thing. Maybe.
But
yeah,
you think of this other guy, right? Like, is this guy's racket? He's like, I'm gonna sell golf clubs. I'm gonna go around selling golf clubs to people just to get them maybe to offer them a blowjob. Like, dude, if you want to like suck some young guy's dick, there's probably better ways to do it.
I want to have that guy on the pod because I have a lot of questions. Like, what's
know.
the success rate with that?
Not with my
Is
kids,
that
Tom.
working? Maybe we meet him in a neutral spot. I don't think we want to give him a
We'll have CP put us in touch with him, and we'll figure out what
So,
that
but
is.
I also like this guy's. So he's 60 and he knows the acronym like NSA blowjob.
I
That's
honestly-
incredible. This whole thing is incredible.
When he told me this story, I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
Now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't know what it meant, so I would have looked it up too. But I said, so what'd you do? He's like, oh, I freaked out.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of this other story. So this is kind of what I want to get into. So more about maturing. So
Yeah.
his story is more recent.
Okay.
My story was not recent. So my story is about 20 years ago.
Okay.
And it started in 2004 when I worked again at the radio station, and every first Tuesday of the month they used to send me to Max 2 in Billerica
Okay.
with Carrie, and we would do amateur night. Now Carrie obviously didn't dance; she just hosted
Max 2, famously.
famous 18 plus strip clubs.
Yeah, 18 plus strip club, reputedly run by people who might have had connections to whatever.
Have you been?
Yeah, I've been when I lived in Billerica as a young person. It's closed now.
It's closed.
Yeah,
It's
been
just a
closed for many
giant
years.
hole in the,
Yeah.
ground. They dug it out. They found I bet you they found a lot of missing cocaine in that hole.
Among other things, maybe. Yeah.
So I used to go there because I lived in Schmirka.
Yeah.
And even when I went to Framingham,
Yeah.
my boss at the time was like, you don't even have to bring the van down. He's like, just keep some banner in your car.
Sure.
And when you go there with Carrie, just put up some banner on the stage and just hang out. 'Cause
Yeah.
You can't drink there anyway. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So I would go with Carrie, and every first Tuesday of the month from sometime in 2004 until this story ends in a very strange way
Yeah.
in 2008, I think.
Yeah.
I would go all the time to the point where like Carrie and I became like really close as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that stuff at the radio station, you kind of become like friends with the people there.
Sure.
And I think I was too young and naive to realize that like strip club people aren't like they're good people, right? But they're not like people
Well, they
that
have
I grew up
different
with.
social mores, right?
Yeah.
Like they have different, Yeah.
So what I noticed, and I feel like it took me a little while to kind of like reconcile this in my brain, was it all starts like pretty innocent, right? So you get to know the DJ, and
Gives you a water bottle with a twisty straw.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, take a look
get
at this
back
car.
to work.
Yeah,
It's
what?
like that
Yeah,
cock.
yeah. Knocks on
But
the door.
you go up there, and I used to drive that big old Delta. Remember my old Delta? So it was just this giant Oldsmobile. So I'd go up there with just the roller banner, and Carrie would show up right before the event. But when I would get there, it would be like dead.
Yeah.
So I'd go up on the stage. I've been up on the stage, and I'd put the roller banner with the logo up on the glass.
Yep.
And the DJ would be like, "Now from WAF, Bobby Vito." He's like, "Shake it," and I'd be like shaking it, right? Because I thought it was like part of the show. It's like, hey, it's funny and whatever. So I'd like become friendly with the staff and friendly with him, and I'd see him at concerts that AF would promote, and he'd be like, "Hey, come over and have a beer," and the girls would be there, and I'd have beers with them, and it was no big deal, whatever, right? And like years and years and years.
Pretty exciting for an 18-year-old, right? Like,
I mean,
it's
at the
kinda cool.
time, 04, I was probably like 22, 23, because I was like in college.
Still not, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so Summer's doing like concerts at the Tweeter Center, or concerts at Gillette or whatever. It was like you see them a lot, but like soon you're like in over your head.
Okay.
So at one point the DJ, which I won't say his name, he's like, "Hey, this stripper, she's got a car name, right? It's like fucking Jeep Grand Cherokee or like Subaru or some shit." He's like, "She wants to date you. She thinks you're really cute."
All right,
right? She saw my face. Well, she saw my face for years, and she's like, "Oh, he's cute." She did that thing that I do, and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But like, I know mentally I'm not cool enough to date a stripper.
Oh,
right? Because
okay.
like she's there, and like, I honestly, when he told me what her name was, and I know what her name is, I couldn't even tell you who she was. Because I don't even know
stripper. Yeah, you
out of
don't
all,
know the
right?
people. Yeah, yeah.
But it'd be like, "Hey, after we close on Sunday," because we lived in Belmont at the time.
Okay.
He's like, "Hey, after we close, we're all gonna go to this like bar in Lowell."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Don't they close?" He's like, "No, we know the owner." I'm like, "Okay."
Okay.
So I'd like drive from Belmont to Lowell, and I'd go to this like after hours bar, and it was like this. It was totally shady.
Yeah.
But like suddenly, the stripper can't date me. I get a text from her. "Hey, my boyfriend saw the text between us. I don't think this is gonna work out." And I was kind of like relieved.
Yeah.
Thank God that's
Right.
over.
Yeah.
2 seconds later, I get a text from him. "Hey, don't worry about that. That was her boyfriend. He saw her phone. He's just trying to scare you." And I'm like, "Hey, man, like, this is getting a little too heavy for this guy. Like, I think I want out."
Yeah.
And he comes back with, "Totally get that, but can we still be friends?" And I'm like, "I guess so. I still got to do this event." So, a couple months go by, whatever. And my sister's about to get married, and we're still living in Belmont.
Yeah.
And we go to the wedding rehearsal, and I come back, and I get a text message, and it's like, "Hey, I'm at this party. You should come to this party," from the DJ. And it's a dude. And I was like, "No, I can't. I just came back from my sister's wedding rehearsal. I get the wedding tomorrow." He's like, No, it's super close. It's in Brighton." And I was like, No, I got the wedding tomorrow."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, but you're back in Belmont. It's in Brighton. You should come to this party."
Yeah.
And I was like, "No,
Yeah.
I got the wedding tomorrow."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't know what your problem is, man. I just want to suck your dick." And I
Wow.
remember looking at my Nokia flip phone, because I didn't have like a smartphone at that point, in utter shock.
That's that's a lot.
Aggressive. And I remember kind of being like, "What the hell just happened?" And I went into the office on Monday, and I told Carrie, and I was like, "I can't work these events anymore."
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh yeah, you can't work these events anymore."
Yeah.
So I looked at it from the NSA blowjob. I kind of like was like brought back, and for a little while I was wondering if like I was groomed. And as I get older,
Yeah.
I would take attention from anybody. I look at it now, honestly, I think that guy just had great taste in penises.
Yeah, you
I think
just-
he looked at me and he was like, "That guy is probably has a good looking penis," and I'm sorry that I still wouldn't have let him do it, but I'm sorry that I yucked
Yeah,
your
you're
yum.
kind of sad you're not getting more NSA blowjob offers.
I basically, this was my long-winded way to say, like, I kind of wish that people were offering me more NSA blowjobs that I turned down.
Yeah, so if that old guy has like a canoe or something and
Yeah.
he wants to get in touch with you, maybe,
Yeah, like, I want to be clear.
you're going to say no, but
Yeah.
he can harass you a little bit. and
100%,
everybody wins, right?
100%.
You can probably get something out of that.
I want to be
would
clear,
imagine.
though.
Yeah.
Bobby Vito was turning them all down.
Okay.
I'm not interested.
All right.
But it's nice to be asked.
Your Instagram maybe suggests otherwise.
That's true. But I hope that they're not selling that information to him. It's just sometimes it's nice to be considered.
Yeah.
You know? Like, "Hey, Tom, you want to come to this party?" "No, I didn't want to come, but I would have liked to be next.
You know, yeah. Thanks anyway. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me feel popular.
Do you think I was being groomed?
I don't know. Well, you were being sexually harassed for sure, right?
Yeah,
like,
probably.
you know, in like a 2025 context, that was totally.
Well, you know what's funny? I was watching this thing, not on Instagram, but it was like an interview with Brianna Chicken Fry.
Yeah.
I'll probably butcher the context, but basically she was talking about like one of the hardest things about like meeting young guys these days is like after she sleeps with them, she doesn't know if they're gay, and I thought.
She just sleeps with them. She doesn't know if they're gay.
Because they're so like sensitive and stuff, and they like. And I thought, you know what my nickname was at the radio station? I was outside of Bob Vito, metrosexual, which at that point, which was like,
But I think some of that was just like you showered.
Yeah, I showered.
You cut your hair.
I did,
Yeah.
and like I guess I kind of dressed fancy
Yeah.
for that time.
Like some things matched sometimes.
Sometimes I tucked my shirts in. Sometimes,
Right.
But like maybe he thought I was.
Yeah.
Which again, now I'm like flattered
Yeah.
because I probably was pretty clean.
Yeah. No, he probably did. Yeah. And obviously thought you were attractive. So, you know,
Maybe I was a little bit of a hunk back then.
yeah. Maybe you should just let him do it. You know?
Me, I'll tell you what, probably way less money in divorce.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't have this amazing podcast with all of you lovely
That's true.
people.
Yeah. You wouldn't have a sweatshirt, you know?
I wouldn't have
God only knows what that sweatshirt would say. That hoodie would have like, you know, I don't know, NSA something.
Oh my God! Tell me about it. So yeah, in hindsight, basically, I'm sorry that I was so sexually closed off back then. I still wouldn't have taken it though. But either way, in closing, we do have one voicemail. It is not Tom. I do want to say it is not a No Dick Bozo.
Okay.
It is for you specifically.
Okay.
And I do want to say I'm going to play it in its entirety.
Okay.
And I want you to absorb it. You haven't
Yep.
heard it yet.
Okay.
I want you to kind of rant on it.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a real feud happening.
Okay.
This person was requested John, our friend John F. in Tewksbury.
Okay.
He loved it.
Yeah.
A couple people loved it.
Yeah. Well,
You hated it.
yeah.
So
I think I know where this is going.
So he was brought back by popular demand,
Well,
let's just say.
I guess.
And I know how much you hated it.
Manner of speaking.
But this one's for you, Tom.
Hey, pardon there, but this is everybody's favorite Canadian, Toronto Rob. Hey, loved your last episode. That Anthony Weiner chum sounds like a cool guy, eh? Sorry, but this message is for that Skakamak Tom. Hey, Tom, sorry to pee in your poutine, eh? But you're messing with the wrong buddy. Why don't you come up to my cousins in Saskatoon and say that to my face, eh? Let me know if you need a loony or two to pay for the trip, you hoser. What a keener. Anyway, love the stories about sex scandals. Do some more of those, eh? So long.
Wow.
All right, Tom. Is the war on between?
Well,
you and Toronto?
I'll say this. It's not much of a war. It's akin to any war that Canada would participate in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where it's kind of like a lot of getting your canoes in order and then surrendering.
Yeah.
On Toronto Rob's part, I think that I tried to do some research on I was trying to sort of come to some sort of truths. And I did some research. I asked like ChatGPT, like, what are some of Canada's great accomplishments?
Yeah.
And they're going to be our 51st state. So,
Soon,
like,
soon,
it's
yeah.
only fair.
I heard they came up with missionary sex.
They honestly, like, I don't think they could have. They came up with the Hawaiian pizza, which
They did?
yep, supposedly. That's a big accomplishment. They're very proud of that. Poutine was probably somebody else. I don't know, but poutine is fucking gross.
It's probably French, right?
It's probably French, but it's gross either way. And like they love poutine there because they're fucking morons and they haven't eaten any other food. Like if you like poutine, you have had like a diet of gruel and like the food that like the Cisco's are about to throw away.
It's
That's like
gravy
who
and
likes
curds,
poutine.
right?
It's disgusting. Yeah. It's like vomit and piss.
I've only had it at like, this is going to sound really bad, like outside of Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
There was a Burger King.
Yeah.
And it was like poutine fries. And I
Yeah.
was like big and fat back then. And
Yeah.
I'm like, for like an extra $1, you get like another meal. I'm like,
yeah. So it's like, oh, is put gravy on this?
Yeah, I'll do that, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like it's for poor people because it's for Canada. They lost a war to rabbits. They they had like a big heist of maple syrup. Like a lot of their history.
Rob Ford. Did you see the Rob Ford documentary?
Yeah, Rob Ford is just like he's like their greatest citizen.
Did you see
he's
that
like
quote?
the most known Canadian of all time?
Did you see that quote I sent you guys though? I died when he said it. He's like, if you don't do needles and you're not gay, you won't get AIDS. Probably. And this was like a real quote. And I was like, this guy won?
He's a scientist in Canada. You know what I mean? Like he's
I know,
it's
I know,
incredible.
I know.
So yeah, so I
He
hope
died,
that Toronto Rob chokes on Canadian bacon, aka shitty ham.
Oh wow!
Because that's what Canadian bacon is. And he's welcome to come back on the podcast. I heard differently. I think a lot of people hate him. His accent's terrible. Doesn't sound like he's from Toronto at all. Sounds like he's kind of a fraud. A lot of people have alleged like a lot of really, really bad crimes that he might have committed, and that's why he's pretending to be from Toronto. But again, I don't know. That's what people are saying.
Do you think we can get him on?
Like live?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think he can operate a microphone?
I don't know.
He might eat it. He might think it's like chocolate or something. I don't
Toronto
know.
Rob.
We'll see.
It is on. Well, I think we'll come back in 2 weeks. When are you back from your trip?
Like next week. Yeah.
Because we'll do a quick turnaround because I want to try to bang out another one, maybe 2 in July.
Okay, sounds great.
I think we're killing it. So I think we're going to end. In fact, we always do our obligatory time check. We're about an hour in right now. So any plugs or thank yous that you want to give as we wrap it up here, Tom?
That's a great question. Thank Bernthal. We haven't mentioned Bernthal.
Oh yeah, Bernthal, episode 6.
So we should thank Bernthal.
After you go finish.
No, that's it. Yeah.
So not confirmed, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but Podcast Milfy has put us in touch with a hobnob event. It's like a West Coast type thing, and we don't know when it's going to be.
Okay.
But she wants us to go to celebrate when my divorce is finalized.
Oh wow. Okay.
And there will be people there that we can glad hand with.
Ooh.
Now that we talked
bigwigs?
about, I think it's probably B-list celebrities, if I'm gonna be honest with you.
Fair enough.
But what I'm gonna be interested in is when that actually happens. So I told her I don't want to do it until we know when that's gonna happen.
Sure.
So when that does happen, we'll let you know because it'll be a whole thing.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We'll probably bring some equipment and we'll get some audio from that. So that'll be really exciting when we actually go do that.
Nice.
And you're gonna come.
Yeah.
You promise?
That sounds great. Sure. Okay. I don't know.
Because I'll plan it where I can get coverage and we'll make a thing. Because she's going to pay. And XOXOXO, she's going to pay. We could use some of the money, not for travel or anything like that, but we could use some of the money for like things down there.
Oh,
over
okay.
there. So
right off. I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So I think that'll be fun. So we'll make that happen. But either way, thank you to Dean Corsi for this amazing song. You can find him at Instagram.com/Dean Corsi Music. You can email Tom and I at divorcewithfriends@gmail.com. Instagram.com is at divorcewithfriends. And Podbean will have all of these podcasts wherever you listen. So we'll catch you in a few weeks. Thanks for coming around. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.